Okay, let's move on to some of the pieces. So as I said, we've got white pieces and black pieces, and actually this is an opportunity to just introduce some terminology. In chess, when we talk about the pieces, we use the words white and black. So you'll often hear chess players saying things like, in this position, black can do this move, white can do that move. But when we talk about the squares, we actually use the terms light and dark. And this is just convention in chess. Many chessboards will not have white and black squares. They will have light squares and dark squares. Maybe the dark squares are a dark green color and the light squares are a creamy color. So we just say light and dark squares. However, the pieces, we just say white and black, even if they're not actually white and black. That's just chess convention. So let's introduce you to the first piece. That is the pawn, spelled P-A-W-N. A pawn looks like this, and it's a really, really important piece. In fact, all the pieces are important, so yeah, we will learn about the pawn first. Now, the pawn moves forward, and forward means in the direction of your opponent. So I'm sitting here. If there was an opponent sitting opposite me, the direction of my opponent would be this way. So my pawn would move this way. But for black, in this position, their pawn would be moving this way, towards me. Okay? Pawns cannot move in any other direction but forwards. So this pawn, if it were here, it would not be able to move sideways. It would not be able to move backwards. It would only be able to move in the forwards direction, which is here. Furthermore, pawns can only move one square at a time. So whilst other pieces can fly across the board, pawns are limited in their movement. They can only move one square at a time. So white moves, for example, here, and now it's black's turn and black can move here. And now white can go here, and then black can go here. Aha! But if you were watching carefully, you may have seen that this pawn just jumped 2 squares forward. And actually, that is one exception to pawns. When a pawn is on its starting square, and referring to the previous lesson, the starting square for a pawn will be the number 2 if it's white, the number 2 rank, and the number 7 rank if it is black. When the pawn is on the starting square, it can actually jump 2 squares forward, such as this, and then black can go here. But then the pawn can only move 1 square forward from that point onwards. So you only have one opportunity to jump 2 squares forward, and that is on the pawn's very first move at the start of the game when it is on its starting square. So pawns move forwards, they can move 2 squares forward on the starting square, but what happens when 2 pawns come together? Can I take this pawn? Well, in chess you can take pieces, and it's a good thing to take pieces. However, pawns, they are a bit strange because they do not take in the same way that they move. You might think that this makes sense, that I can take this piece. However, when you are taking any piece with a pawn, so it could be a piece we haven't even looked at yet, such as a rook, the way that the pawn takes is actually forwards to the side. And what we call that is forwards diagonal. So I will show you that now. So let us say the position is like this, and it's white to move. White can take this pawn like this. Okay. White could also, in theory, take a pawn if it were on the other side, like this. What you cannot do with a pawn is capture a piece directly forwards, such as this. That is not allowed in the game of chess. Furthermore, you cannot move a pawn forwards diagonally like this. So it's very specific. Pawns can move forwards and they can capture forwards diagonally. This may seem like a lot of information, but once you play around with pawns, and we're going to show a game soon that you can play with pawns, it soon becomes second nature and you will learn the pattern very quickly. Okay, let's get on to the pawns game.